Welcome back to my channel, Custom Scrapbook Design by Christy Stubbs. And tonight I am going to work on another Halloween 12 by 12 layout. I mentioned before that I am wanting to use up this Goosebumps collection by Pretty Little Studios just so that we can I can help you all use the whole collection. So I have seen this idea somewhere on Pinterest and I honestly don't know who to give the credit to, but I've come up with an idea for the page and I'm going to use actually a lot of the scraps that I've got so far rather than diving into any of the new pieces yet. We'll see how many I need. So far, if you've watched any of my other layouts, I have still got, this collection started with 16 sheets and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them left still. So I still have over half of the collection and I honestly can't remember how many pages we've done so far, but it looks like I've still got quite a few to go before I can use up this whole pack. So for today's layout, we're going to start with working with what I've got here and see where we go from there. So I am just grabbing a sheet of solid black from my stash and I need to cut the strip off the bottom of this one. So we're going to cut that off quick. And then once that is done, I have, let's measure this and see what I've got left. So I've got 7.5 inches left. And what I'm gonna do is center that in the middle. And let's see, it doesn't quite go all the way across. Let's see if this is just a touch long. Nope, this is perfect. Okay. And I'm not going to ink these edges because I'm going to end up covering those edges with this layout that I've got planned. So let's get this stuck on to begin with, and then I'll show you what I kind of had envisioned for the rest. Okay, so I've got this stuck down, and when I was measuring, I noticed it is cut slightly crooked. And there's actually no need to tear that up and fix that because that's going to be hidden once we start doing the rest. So what I had in mind, and a couple reasons, I know I've seen this idea somewhere at some point in time, and I have never used this punch, and I've had it for probably about 6 or 8 months. So I thought it's about time we use this. So it looks like I can make tags either 1.5 inches, 2.5 inches, or 3 inches wide, and then they're going to have the different tops on them. So I'm going to make different tags utilizing this scrap paper that I've got so far. We may dive into more of the paper. We'll see how they kind of lay out. So I don't think I'm going to want any tag taller than 4 inches. So I'm gonna cut this at 4, and I think we're gonna go the 2.5 on this one. And let's see how that looks in this punch. Looks like I might be just a tad wide, so I'm going to go ahead and trim that off so that I don't have any problems when it comes to cutting the tag. Okay, so there's the first tag we've got cut out. And my plan is to fill the bottom with tags, go in this direction, and then if I were to use this tag up here, I would have done the tag top up here. And then I'm gonna come down here with the tags. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut a bunch of tags off camera, and then I'll be back with all of those tags and arranging those. Okay, I thought I'd pop back on. I did just the bottom half, and I just stuck them on using my tape runner so I could reposition them if I wanted to. I did kind of glue down the bottom just a little bit to hold them in place because I actually put it through my cutter. So I'm gonna complete the top on camera with you guys and show you exactly how I put this bottom together. And it's not quite set in stone just yet because I want to finish the top. So let's do that together. I have pre-done a few of the tags. I'm not sure that I have enough of them, but let's kind of work on this together. I did learn one lesson already using the punch, not to put your palm across there because you will pinch it. So if you have one of those, I'm sure you probably would not make that same silly mistake that I did. But I actually went ahead and inked all the edges. I didn't ink the bottoms of any of them because I know I plan on cutting those off. And I inked really heavy because we're white on white. For the most part, all of it is white on white, and I really wanted the tags to stick out, not only, you know, with the ribbons and stuff, but I really wanted to make sure you could see that outline, and I did not want to back any of them with another color, whether it be black or whatever, to help pop that color out. So it looks like I only have a few of those tags ready to go. We'll go ahead and make a couple of those together. We'll see if this one will be long enough once we cut the tag part of it off. I'm not sure it will be, but we'll find out. So, ooh, just barely. So that one will work. So we've got kind of a variation of colors with the blue and the pink and then the gold, but the printed ones have all of those colors. So I think that that pulls it together nicely, and it looks like I'm not going to need to pull any more papers, full sheets, to finish this particular layout. So I'm kind of liking, I really like these ones with the words on them to really show more than, say, the little splatters or the solid colors. And I've got some more of this print. So we're gonna cut that 2-inch. I think we'll do another 2-inch tag. So we'll trim that at 2. And see if we've got enough there. And let's see. We'll want the tag part this way. When you've got words on there, you really want to watch your orientation to make sure your tag's not going to be upside down once you put your tag eyelet end on it. And I did just pull my stash of scrap seam binding, and I did find some colors that would work, and I decided not to put eyelets in there. So when pulling the seam binding through, you need to be really careful not to end up ripping that paper. So let's kind of line up what we've got, and it looks like we're going to need at least a minimum of 2 more tags, and we should probably do, this is what I've got left of the colored sheet, And I think we will, let's see. We've got one big one, 1, 2, 3 of the medium-sized one, and 2 of the smaller ones. So maybe we'll do a 2-inch one for this one. I'm trying to kind of balance out the size of the tags as well. Oh, and the larger tag is actually, whoops, hit the camera, 2.5. So we'll cut that at 2.5. Looks like I cut it slightly crooked. There, that way we've got some of that blue in there and it's not all the pink. All right, we're gonna squeeze that one in on the end here. Trying to kind of alternate some of these patterns as well. And I didn't worry about where they hung off on the page. We're gonna just trim that. Okay, so we need one more tag, and it looks like we might end up doing another colored one, solid one. So let's see if this ends up being, now that was just a little big, so we'll just take and trim that, kind of round that a little bit. Nope, not long enough. Okay, so I do still have some more of this. And I think I'm going to cut it in this direction and try and catch both of those colors. Or I'm going to play with switching this around real quick and see if we put those two together and do another one of the, I think we'll do another one of the circles instead. All right, and we want that to be the 2.5. Let's see where that lands on the circles. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do first is just trim this little edge off and then see where we end up on those circles. Yeah, there it looks like we can get two full rows of the circles in there a little bit better. And if I wanted to be real precise, I could have measured and centered those on there, but I'm not worried about being that precise with it. All right, so the tag is gonna go this way. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I think we can make those tags work. So now all I got to do is finish inking the ones that aren't quite inked. So this layout really is a great one if you've got a lot of scraps left in a particular collection. And I had quite a few big scraps, which, as you can tell, I'm ending up cutting a lot of my tags a lot smaller. So you don't necessarily have to have a bunch of big scraps left. We've got the general layout here, and I've got my scraps of seam binding here, and I'm going to use the same colors that I did below. And you'll notice I did not pull any of the pink and the blue. I kind of just stuck with the traditional orange, black, and then some of this gold thrown in there as well. So I didn't trim any of these to put them through either, and I fed them through the back, folded them, fed them through the back. Get your little loop, and then bring your ends through. Trimming them would be easier, but I'm trying to conserve the ribbon. And then, like I said, you want to just kind of pull on those, but you don't want to pull too awfully tight, or you're going to just rip a hole in that paper. So, and then I just randomly cut them. I'll actually go back and probably trim them again a little bit better. So I'm going to put those on. Okay, so now I'm just going to go ahead and turn that around and just make it easier for me to work on it, and rearrange the tags yet again. I tend to always disrupt what I had in place, and then maybe possibly change my mind and lay it out just a little bit differently. And now you need to remember, we want to leave room for the pictures, and I actually have cut a couple 4 1/8 by 6 1/8 pieces, and I want to try and line them up and down like this. So I'm going to want to pull all of these tags as close to the bottom as possible, and then we're going to trim these even a little bit shorter so that we're not interfering with the pictures quite so much. And possibly, I like to do the 4 by 6 mats only so that whoever is going to put the pictures on this, they don't have to actually trim that picture at all. But we may end up trimming that down just a little bit, because as you can see, the ribbons really hang over, and when I set them in place here, they're really starting to hang over into the picture more. Now, ideally, had I not been using scraps, the centerpiece, if it was a little bit bigger of a piece of paper, you could have less of a tag hanging down. But since I'm trying to use up the scraps, this is, you know, the size that I had to work with. So we're going to make this work. We may have to trim these mats down, and then they may just have to trim the picture down to fit the mats, which either way will work just fine. So let's arrange the tags up at the top here, and then I'm just going to show you kind of what I did once I decided on the layout here of the tags. So the center one can maybe go up a little higher if we put these, let's see, kind of set them equal distance from the sides, and we've got a little bit bigger gap in between so we can have more ribbon maybe hanging in that little section there. Have the tag be further down the page on that particular area. So, and they don't have to fit perfectly on the layout as well. We can hang it over so that we can just trim that off. So I'm kind of liking how that is there. So then I just took and just put a little square of adhesive on the tag to hold it in place while I get all of them set in place, and then we'll go back and adhere everything just a little bit more securely. But this way I can still move stuff around if I find that I don't have it placed exactly where I want it. All right, and we're going to place this one. And I'm just making sure that that little opening for the ribbon is over top of this paper so that we don't have it showing the black that's underneath. So that's all I'm doing when setting those in place. So we're just gonna barely secure them all. And then decide if they're all in the perfect spot. Took the time on this tag to make sure I had 2 full circles, and then I'm going to end up cutting most of them off. Maybe I should switch those around. No, I think I like them better the way that I have them. That's all right. Maybe we'll just go a little taller with that one too, and place that so that it can be a little bit taller, and maybe the top of that tag could be a little tuck spot for the corner of the picture. Okay, so let's take a look at that, make sure they're all fairly straight. Looks like I've got them kind of bunched there and a little further apart over here. So this is the nice part about how I hooked them down. I can still move them around and get them just right. I think maybe that's the difference here. We need to put that end one over top instead of, there we go. I think I like the looks of that. So let's turn that around and kind of take a peek at it. Looks like I've got them a little crooked. So we'll need to fix that. That looks straighter. Let's turn it over. That'll be, there we go. Yep, we're pretty crooked on that one. You can see by the overhang here how crooked I was. And then you can see how crooked all of them are. Apparently I can't quite get anything straight tonight. All right, let's line the paper up on the mat. And we can kind of use the lines as a guideline here and reline these up. I'm not a well, I am somewhat of a perfectionist, but on my scrapbooking, I do not measure, and generally, as a rule, I do not measure and line things up. I tend to put things kind of cattywampus. Okay, let's see how that looks from this side again now. All right, something still looks crooked. Okay, I think I'm good with running with that. So then what I did was I turned it over, and I have the adhesive in the little square, but I went along and glued down these bottoms because we're going to run this through the cutter to even these all out. That eliminated having to measure any of them when we were doing it. I don't know. I think you could do it however you want to. If you like to measure and just trim them all as you go, you know, there's certainly no wrong or right way to do it. I might be going about this the hard way. I tend to do that occasionally, but this is how I did the other side, and it seemed to work out just fine. So we'll grab the cutter, and then I just, ooh, I'm not gonna be able to slip those through that way. We're gonna cut this off with the scissors to shorten that, and we're gonna shorten these with the scissors just to make that a little easier. Okay. And I think rather than run this one through the cutter, we're gonna just use the scissors for that little bit. I hung too far over the edge. And I could go along and cut it neatly with the scissors, or cut it neatly with the scissors, but I'm gonna go back with the trimmer here and trim that off. So, trim all those off. They all end up being the same size. As you can see, I have a little bit hanging over on the other end still too, and that's okay. You're never gonna see that once you get your page in your album, at least not how I put mine in my books. You'll never notice that. So, there we go. We've got tags at the top, tags at the bottom, and we need to trim all these ribbons on this top part. They're all way too long, and we may end up trimming a few more of the bottom ones just a little shorter as well. So you can trim however you like to. Lots of times I'll alternate which way I cut the ribbon. And one we can leave just a touch longer. Can't get them apart. Angle that orange one. That looks like it's cut off straight. Okay, let's take a look at what we've got after we trimmed all that off. Okay. That looks a little bit better. Trim a couple more still. Remember, I'm trimming them short because I want to fit the pictures in, and I think we're still going to end up maybe going just a tad smaller for the photo mats, just because I feel like if we go with 4x6 photos here, you may end up getting faces behind ribbons, maybe that you don't want to. So let's take this down to 5 1/8 and see what that looks like. I think that might be a little bit better, but maybe we can actually turn them the other way if we go with the 5. So we'll go 5 1/8 and we measure 4 1/8 the other way. So a 5x4 picture. Let's see how 2 of them this way look. And I think that looks okay. I don't think we want to go over the tags at all, just because I don't. Yeah, I don't think so. I think we want to keep them in between the tags, and just out of curiosity, 3 inches. So you could potentially do like 3x3 mat, you know, a couple mats up there if you wanted to, but I think we're just gonna go with the 2 in the middle. So we are 4x5, I believe. So let me find my little photo, place photo here stamp. And this came from Country Craft Creations. And it doesn't look like we have a 5x4. We've got 5x3. And what would that look like? That's pretty small. I kind of like this 5x4. So, to fix that problem, we've got 5x7, 3x5, 4x6, 5x5, 4x4. Let's see. So that would shorten that up. Let's try that. Let's see what that looks like. It's only paper, right? I know I can't make it bigger again, but we can grab another piece and cut new mats if we don't like that. Oh, I think I might like that actually even better. So let's cut that one down. And I think I cut that right at 4 instead of 4 1/8, but yep, so we'll cut that at 4. They're gonna trim the picture anyway. So let's go ahead and go for 4x4. Okay. All right. Okay, so because I did cut that too small, I'm gonna cut 4 1/8 by 4 1/8 squares because it does say place photo 4x4 here. So let's go 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. That'll give it a little bit wider border behind that picture. So 4 1/4 by 4 1/4. Stamp says place 4x4 photo here. That way we won't have any confusion. And there we go. I like the looks of that. So let's go ahead and stamp that. I like to stamp it so whoever is putting pictures on here knows what size photo they need. Takes all the guesswork out. Nobody has to grab their ruler and measure anything. It's already laid right out for them. So place 4x4 and 4x4. So there's that. But before we put those mats down, we're gonna glue these tags down. So I actually want to, that one looks like it kind of came up just a little. We're gonna move that down, put it right back on the edge again, and we're gonna put some glue on there. There we go. And I want to glue the tops down where the ribbon is too, and that'll help hold that ribbon in place just a little bit better. Make sure we don't have any of those come undone. So I would just go through and hit all of those tags with just a touch of glue, just so that you don't have, and I'm not sure if you can see it on camera or not, where they're kind of lifting up everywhere. I don't want that 3D like effect. I want them to lay flat. So I'm just gonna go along and glue all of these real quick. And it does look like maybe I have a couple of tags on just a touch crooked, and that's okay. Adds to the character of the layout. You guys can, you know, do yours how you like. Okay, so I just used the art glitter glue, which I absolutely love and worked perfect for this, because your tape runner would require a lot of tape to hold all of these down, and I'm not sure we could get a good tight laying down like I've got them with the glue. You know, being able to really just slide under there with this tip really makes that nice to be able to glue all of those tags down. So we've got the tags down tight. Let's add the mats to the layout and then take a look and see if we want to add anything else, or if we're happy with the way that it looks as is. So I'm just gonna kind of try and center that between the tags and get it straight with the edge here. I'm not gonna press it down yet until I get this other one kind of set as well and make sure that that's really where I would like to have them. And do I want them lined up evenly side by side, or do I want to, again, I don't usually measure. I don't usually try and line things up straight. I kind of like things cattywampus or a little crooked because then they're meant to look that way instead of accidentally being that way, which is what I usually end up doing. So I think I'm good with them like that. And let's go to our tray and see if there's anything left in the ephemera that we want to add. You know, I mentioned I wasn't going to open up any more ephemera packs to do any of these layouts. I'm going to try and work with what we have. So I don't really see anything in the ephemera, but maybe we could add some colorful, you know, add some color right along here or along the edges. It looks like I didn't get those super equal either. Looks like this one's a little closer to the edge than the other one. Now I probably messed up their alignment this way. Close enough. All right. Close enough that way. And let's just take a couple of these and add them, looks like to the middle. It doesn't look like there's very many small ones. There's a couple, but they're pretty light in color. And I think I want to use a little more color in between. So let's pick that up and see if we can get that almost centered. I am terrible at lining stuff up straight up and down, and especially when it's flat. I have to kind of lift it up to see if I get it. That looks all right. Let's see, Halloween. Let's add the black Hocus Pocus, and that's like barely gonna fit in between the two. Okay, and what else? Oh, we do have a short boo that would maybe fit off to the side there. And we do have Erie is in that lighter blue color, so maybe we should pull that light blue color in up over here. Holy, I'm struggling getting stuff straight tonight. There we go, and I think we need to add a third one. So let's add that gold color. And let's see, we're 1, 2, 3. Oh, the rows aren't spaced equally either. So I guess if I really wanted to get technical, I'm just a little over the 3/4. So right in there. All right, we'll add our little words. 4x4 photos. We used up a lot of the scraps and some colorful seam binding on there. So thanks for sticking with me. I'm not real great at doing these live for you, but we'll stick with me. I'll get a little bit better at it. And I hope you enjoyed this layout. And it looks like with as much paper as I have left in this pack, I'm going to be back for another layout. I think I'll save this pink, and we need to do something with this. Could always save the black, and I could always save this. This doesn't necessarily scream Halloween, and neither does this one, this one. So we essentially have 3 more sheets that I really want to use up for Halloween layouts. So I'll be back with another video, at least one more, possibly two, to use up the rest of this pretty little studio Goosebumps pack. And you can find this collection on my website, and it is www.customscrapbookdesign.com. And I've got art glitter glue there as well. And if you're in need of a Creative Memories consultant, I am also one of those, so you can just search me under Creative Memories and search the consultants to find me. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll be back with another one soon. Bye for now.